Please give this video a like and subscribe! Feed me now! I'm starving. Give me food! Don't make me ask again. Feed me, or else.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame, the unexpected moment when liberal media was handed its ass, where we're going to be continuing our reaction to the Inside the Manosphere documentary. And we're going to be looking at some more time codes from this, but I also have some bonus things that I want to look at because I think that, well, I won't spoil anything just yet. I'll just say that the documentary is not the only issue that we're facing here. So, Allison, before we get started, why don't you do the things?
Yeah. Am I frozen? No,
Nope.
It looks like I can move around. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you would like to send us a message, the very best way to send us a message and a tip is feedthebadger.com/justthetip. So if you want to comment on anything throughout the show, very much appreciated if you send those comments through feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if you want to support the show, that's feedthebadger.com/support. And if you want to join us in our community, I eventually got that word. I'm losing words. Please do so at badgernation.online. So that's feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us those comments. Feedthebadger.com/support the show, and badgernation.online to join our community and take part in fighting the hordes of feminism and financialization. Okay, all right, so let's begin, Brian.
All right. So last time we were watching this video, obviously we weren't watching the whole documentary because, you know, I guess our video got tagged or something by
the horizontal video got flagged by Netflix. The vertical video did not. So if you were wondering what happened to that last one, go look at the vertical.
I think the Rumble video is still up too.
Mm-hmm. That managed to evade the copyright strike.
Yeah, if you guys could confirm that our last stream on this, if you're on Rumble, could you confirm that it's there? Because I don't think we got dinged by Rumble. I think it was only on horizontal YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, horizontal YouTube.
For some reason, because we were streaming the exact same content on vertical YouTube. I guess it's just screen real estate that it was having a concern with. I don't know. God knows.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, last time,
if this one does disappear, just go to the vertical, guys. All right?
Yeah, if this one gets hit,
vertical save us all. All right, go ahead, Brian.
So last time, we're watching Louie Theroux's Inside the Manosphere, and the last time we were looking at this, he's doing another session of hanging out with HS Tiki Taki, who is he's sort of like one of the main characters of this documentary, probably because he's a younger guy, and you know, he's sort of using him to tell a story of where men might end up. It's kind of like a cautionary tale, right?
Yeah, guys.
Yeah,
guys, it's a cautionary tale. You might end up with a yacht and bikini models.
Yeah, but he might be empty inside because he's not a good person. Based on nothing but preferences that Theroux has.
Unlike those men on that panel we watched, the dating panel, that are ending up with nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he could you know, you could be like Tiki Taki. Okay, you're right. Empty inside with all of the morals.
That's Theroux's argument, Allison. Theroux's argument is, why don't you just try and be a good person, which is ultimately an emotional argument. And
ultimately really funny coming from Theroux, as we will find out in this episode.
Yeah.
of the mainstream media showing us all its ass and all of its pimply and cellulite glory. All right, go ahead, Brian.
So okay, so he did a second meeting with Theroux, and they went out at night. He was hitting the punching bag, and Theroux, I mean not Theroux, but HS Tiki Taki took a bunch of clips because he was live streaming the whole thing, because that's what he does. He's a live streamer. He streams probably constantly, and he basically took some choice clips out of that, especially the ones that made Theroux look like a buffoon, and posted them on his channel. I don't know, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is that he uses. I got a super chow from Richard Bier right at the top. Thank you, Richard. And he says, giving a shout out to Badger Lady and the Dog Man as they have been referred to by our newest member. The new question becomes when they go on a musical concert tour together.
Badger Lady and the Dog Man.
I don't know what that. Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you mean, but
he means our icons or our avatars,
I know, but like who?
PNG tubing.
Sure, but who? Like it says, as referred to by our newest member. That's what I'm wondering about.
Oh, that's the newest member. A big shout out to. Just give me a second. I'll go and find him in my Discord of infinite rooms. Actually, I don't even know where the heck is my general. Oh, good Lord. I don't even know how to navigate my own freak. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. So big shout out to Benny. That's Benny.
Okay.
Benny the mouse avatar guy.
Benny the mouse. All right.
Benny the mouse basically says hi and found the show on YouTube, and Badger Lady made me feel vindicated. Then the Dog Man mentioned male genital mutilation. I was glad to hear someone talk about it for once. Very cool channel, and I would be happy to contribute. So
awesome.
Welcome to our community, Benny the Mouse.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
And then Richard is referring to that. That's the deep lore.
Got it. See, that's like inside baseball that I'm not aware of. So
yeah, well,
you can't just throw in random references. Like I'm not going to necessarily get where you're coming from. But thank you.
It's in the greetings and salutations
and the commentary.
Yeah, it's only medium lore. It's not deep lore. It's like medium lore. It's medium lore, not deep lore. Like
yeah, no, I just said I just said inside baseball. But
okay,
anyway. All right. So HS used this to sort of like make content. Okay. So let's play this. And of course, it's important to note for context that Louie Theroux has been sort of trying to suggest that, HS is like misogynistic and racist or just like not a good person, right? So let's give a listen. Now this it does tend to work, like act weird, but can you guys hear this okay? Oh fuck.
Egged on by the comments making fun of him and his decision to be in my film, HS seemed to spiral.
I need to play the audio for this because this is
making fun of him.
Well, it's just
spiral. Okay, you got to stop it, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Like, if you want to call me,
why is it going again?
A pimp.
Do you want me not to play it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we got to stop it at some point before Netflix gets on our ass. So why is he spiraling? This is
what Theroux is suggesting, is that he's spiraling. But
yeah, but
basically,
it's very loaded.
Basically, he may absolutely. But this is an important clip. It's not long. He's on Kick, okay? Because again, this is another example of like how, let's say, controlled, like just like what we were just talking about with YouTube, how controlled the video platforms are. A lot of these guys are relegated to using platforms like Kick and Rumble and Odyssey and, TikTok to a degree and X, because YouTube and Twitch are basically like, and Facebook and even Instagram somewhat is an obstacle. So it's actually worth pointing out that he's on Kick doing this. But anyway.
Scammer. Racist, homophobic dickhead. I'm all of those, Theroux. And what? What are you going to do about it, pussy-o? Nothing.
So I'm sharing this because this is like the attitude of Zoomers today, especially Zoomer men in particular. Zoomer men are what I'm talking about. They have been called every slur in the book with regards to them being bigots. They've been called bigots. They've been called oppressors. They've been called evil. And now they're just internalizing it. And they're just saying, okay, now what? Like, fine, right?
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? Like, and the thing is, Theroux just thinks, oh, this is him admitting to his bigotry. I'm going to like show this to the world. But it's like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. Like, nobody cares. Like these young guys, they don't care. You know, they don't care that you're, because these words don't mean anything anymore. They have no power. That, you know, misogynist, whatever, right? And that's why he can't use that to fight against this guy, because they've heard everything. Like, I mean, I think probably even Tiki Talki's heard it all, but I know like guys like, you know, like Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit and, you know, Pearl, well, she is not in this one, but that's another thing. Like people like us, like we've heard this for years. And so like it's like,
it's meaningless.
Yeah, I don't care. Like you obviously don't know who I am, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've watched the media call everybody they want to shut up every name in the book, and they don't have any culpability to whether or not the names that they're calling them are true. The language has become completely diluted. It doesn't mean anything more. It just means that the media wants to shut you up. And, you know, that's what he's pointing out, right? That's where we're at. Okay, let's keep going.
All right. So I just wanted to show that. What are we at now? 5908. I want to get to something really important that I thought this is like one of the big bits here. So moving around, this is so later on he goes to Justin Lang's house or something, and he meets his wife and their kids. And of course, again, I'm not going to play anything from this, but I think it's worth mentioning that his wife was a former like X-ray, I don't know, engineer or something is how they described it. And that she quit her job to raise children. And Theroux is like, you know, well, you know, women can work, right? Like he's basically like, again, he's still imposing this kind of like, I don't know, the status quo of like, women should work, and if a woman chooses to stay home and raise children, like what is he making you do that? And of course, she is like completely defending it. Like, well, no, this is what I want. I'd rather stay home and raise my kids while my husband makes money than wake up at 5 a.m. to, you know, go to a job, you know? And so he's just trying to like, again, it's all about like trying to frame this in that way. But I wanted to get to something else that I thought was, for some reason I thought it was like right here. Oh yeah, here we go. This is it right here. I don't know if it's gonna play for this, but I wanted to show a couple of things about the figures that he's talking about in the documentary. So one is HS Tiki Taki has a strained relationship with his father. So I guess I don't want to play the clip because it might, I don't know if it's going to work. Do you want me to play it or do you want me to like just tell you?
Play it.
Okay, let me just try to find
How long is it going to be? Put it that way.
Well, I should play like it's all about the framing here. So let's play a little bit of this. So after he says what I just showed you guys, where he says like, you know, you can call me a racist, homophobic, sexist, misogynistic, dickhead. I'm all of those. Like, it's not even denying. He's just saying, okay, fine. That's what I am then.
Let's move on now.
Yeah. And then Theroux's response is to say, oh, it's, you know, he sounded like a fighter, like he was getting himself psyched up before a bout, right? It's a way of, and he's basically saying this guy's crashing out and all of that. And he's sort of framing it as this kind of like rage that's dangerous. And then he leans into these news clips. So
up before a big bout.
I do not give a fuck.
We turn now to growing concerns around the proliferation of misogyny online.
Teachers are sounding the alarm over a resurgence of male supremacy in schools.
There's a growing number of examples of manosphere culture affecting interactions between boys and girls.
So
okay,
go ahead.
Can I just point out at the beginning of all this, he said that this was just a part of the manosphere. So we are looking at
the fringes of the manosphere. Yes.
Yeah, that's what he said explicitly. And he also, so essentially the manosphere isn't just these guys. It's also the fitness influencers, the
comedians, podcasters.
Yeah, podcasters don't even say anything related to what these guys are saying. And so they're smearing the whole thing as what they're doing is they're framing the whole thing as this. And then they're saying, oh, all of this content is leaking into the schools. That's not what's happening. What's happening is boys and young men are experiencing the consequences of being disenfranchised by the feminist system, and they don't like it, right? And that's it, right? It's the same thing that happens with any group of people who's being disenfranchised by a system, right? They are deliberately being marked down. They don't have the same opportunities. And the thing is that when these individuals want to laud the future is female and all of the opportunities that are being, opened up by not just by removing laws or whatever else, but opened up in terms of exclusive access to women and girls, they'll trumpet it to the hills how these scholarships are only for women and girls, how these positions are only for women and girls, how these companies are only hiring women and girls, right? They'll trumpet it to the hills, but the instant anyone points out, well, then you're openly discriminating against boys and men, they'll be like, no, that you can't say that. What do you think happens when you create a system in which boys always hear the future's female, in which they see their female peers being marked higher for no other reason than they're girls and getting opportunities for no other reason than they're girls, at the same time as women and girls have not let up on the expectations of financial success for men and boys? They're still expected to hit those marks. Meanwhile, girls and women get unfair advantages. This isn't the manosphere isn't why these boys and young men are angry. That me talking about this stuff isn't why boys and young men are angry. In fact, me talking about this stuff probably reduces the anger. The reason why they're angry, feminists and Theroux and media, is you know exactly why they're angry. Because you're shitting on them. And you're expecting them to eat shit and smile and say, can I have more, sir or ma'am? And they don't like it because nobody likes that. Good Lord. Okay, let us continue.
All right, so yeah, so like note the framing here. This is what I'm explaining to you. You show you like Allison said, he makes a like a plausible deniability framed statement early on.
Yeah.
Well, there's a friend of the manosphere that's bad or whatever. Of course, he can't really show anything like demonstrable in that regard. He just has to like use emotional let's say emotional tactics, like the music is a certain way, the camera angle usage, his face. He tries to make his face reactions to like sort of like project onto the audience how they should be reacting. So if he looks like shocked or appalled or disgusted, then it cuts to him and he makes the face because no one else is doing it. Otherwise, he would cut to them, right? And you're supposed to be like, oh, I guess that's gross, I guess, and none of that works. And then he tries to call them, these particular guys, problematic in some way, or suggest that they're immoral or that they're grifting or they're using their audience or they're not nice to women or they're hypocrites or whatever. And then those guys just say, yeah, I don't care. So what? Call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. So he's like, well, I'll just cut to all of these news reports, all these media clips of people like panicking over misogyny in schools. And that will do it. Like, you see how it's just, and it's like a transition from plausible deniability. Oh, this is a rare corner of the manosphere, to here are the men of the manosphere being bad, to here's what the media thinks about the manosphere writ large. Because the media is not being specific. They're just saying, oh, Andrew Tate phenomena surges in schools with boys refusing to talk to a female teacher. How is that misogynistic? Maybe they don't trust them. Maybe they're afraid their female teachers like diddling their fucking classmates. It's happening. Those things happen,
And the other thing is these boys are being expected to take responsibility for social ills.
Yeah.
Right? That they experience. Like, you look at the statistics on domestic violence among teenagers, girls are leading the pack. So those boys are experiencing domestic violence from their girlfriends and female friends. They're experiencing sexual assault because you see big numbers there too. And then they're expected to swallow it and pretend to be primarily responsible for the same harms that they are experiencing as boys and young men. This is all bullshit. It's all such incredible bullshit. I'm freaking angry about it. I can't even imagine being a boy or a young man expected to swallow the bullshit that girls get away with. Like, they get to hit, they get to sexually assault, they get to be cruel, they get to bully, and they're never called out for it. Toxic attitudes towards the opposite sex are more prevalent among young women than young men. They're more likely to have rape myths around young men as victims of sexual. Girls are more likely to embrace rape myths around male victims of sexual assaults than the reverse or previous generations of girls, right? They're more likely to be overtly hateful in their rhetoric towards the opposite sex. And nowhere is anybody calling out the femosphere, the fempire, and its horrific rhetoric. That's not only online, because it's whenever I do any kind of analysis on misandry, for example, on Twitter versus misogyny, misandry is worse. It's more violent, it's more dehumanizing, it's more pervasive, it's less called out, it's more upvoted, it's got more positive responses. It's horrific. It's a horrific slew of absolutely toxic crap that's being directed at men, and these guys never mention it. They never talk about it. It's always zeroing in on the misogyny, the tiny pockets of misogyny, which are usually just a response to the overwhelming and institutionalized misandry. And they will not talk about that. Everything is just coming out of nowhere, guys. Boys are just upset out of nowhere. They're angry at girls out of nowhere. Who knows? Where is this coming from? And then they have the audacity to say it's coming out of nowhere, but it's not biological essentialism. It just happens to be an emerging property of having a penis. Like, ugh. Okay.
All right, let's play some more of this.
Much has been said about the effect of streamers on their young fans.
It is this idea that there's only one way to be a man, and that involves oppressing women, the right to their bodies.
Okay, fucking what? Who the hell was the one who originated this? There's only one way to be a man. Well, guess who said that every man, no matter what race he is, what culture, what ethnicity, what nationality, what religion, what community he's part of, is out there oppressing women. That is the predominant relationship between men and women. Who said that? Who said it? Who essentially hide bioessentialist determinism behind a fig leaf of socialization that somehow, unlike any other socialization ever in human history, since we crawled down from the fucking canopy, is one-to-one with a biological category? Who did that? Who made that association between masculinity and oppressing women? Did men just develop that one day? Of course, that's what they say. That's what they freaking say. That the primary relationship between men and women is one of oppression. And then they turn around and say that men invented that. Men did that. No, they didn't. Never in the history of humanity have men oppressed women. Ever. Once. This is the thing that needs to die yesterday.
Yep.
And you guys were responsible for this. The feminists were literally responsible for injecting this toxic bullshit into our freaking noosphere, our social landscape, our most intimate relationships. They did this, and now they're turning around and saying, well, boys just think the only way to relate. Bullshit. You said that was the only way they related to women and girls. You said that. And now you're upset that they turned around and said, well, I guess that's the way we relate to women and girls. And they got fucking tired of constantly being accused of what they were not. So they just decided, well, I got the name, might as well have the game. And they're still not even doing that.
No, it's only not. Yeah, they're still not doing this. Even the guys they're trying to like highlight in this movie are absolutely like their whole life revolves around women, and they're still saying that this is like how do you manage that bait and switch? And people buy this. I'm going to show you guys later how just people just eat this up, like they just assume it's true. But anyway, all right, let's there's a little bit more.
But in my time in the manosphere, I'd become curious about how the streamers grew up and what they shared from their childhood.
My dad beat the fuck out. I became very realistic of the world with one ass kicking. All it takes is one good ass kicking. You learn a lot.
So Andrew Tate says that his father beat him once. Now, I would say anything that he says you take with a grain of salt, but that's what he chooses to highlight for this. Now, he's supposed to be like, at least in this year, 2026, year of our Lord, Andrew Tate is the face of everything on the internet that is talking about men. He is the face of all of it. So if there's a way to make him look bad and poison the well, then they'll use it. Okay. Again, he said that he learned a lot, and I think he's grateful for that. Is the full context of this clip. That it basically set him straight is what he would argue. But that's not the important thing. It is funny that this is what he opens with, but let's keep going.
It was striking how many were raised without dads.
It was striking how many were raised without dads.
Not going to go anywhere with this one, guys. Nope. We're gonna float it out there and then just watch it burn and sink into the Pacific. Just like, yeah, goodbye.
I predicted that. I predicted it with these guys. I was like, oh, I bet they didn't have a father in their life. And yes, all of them. I mean, all the ones featured in the documentary. Yeah, Andrew Tate Andrew Tate has a story of his father hitting him, but that's it. As far as everybody else is concerned,
HS, the anti-feminist, had told me how his mum, Elaine, had worked 6-day weeks late into the evening to put him through private school.
Was HS an anti-feminist? Because the funny thing is that feminism created the preconditions of all of this. Like these men would not exist without feminism destroying the value proposition of the average man, leading to this complete distortion and the constant moving target of the dating market, so that women don't want an average man. They want the top whatever. They want a man who has other men or other women orbiting him as social proof, because literally feminism destroyed the social proof of the average man. So men come with negative social proof. They come into the dating landscape with negative social proof. So women are like, well, I need social proof, and the only thing that will suffice is the interest of other women. That is a completely slanted situation that hasn't existed ever until feminism invented the whole men oppress women. Therefore, you're a patsy, lady, if you want a man. Yeah, you're a complete patsy. You're a joke of a woman. You are being taken advantage of if you want a man. So now men have to rise above a higher and higher bar. And it's always the moving target of the top whatever percent. Because of this construction. And that creates the entire situation that these men are feeding on, that these men are getting clout in. I don't know about HS TikTok. He just seems like a general commentator. Not exactly sure if he's living the lifestyle, but
of what lifestyle?
But the red pill lifestyle. It seems more like he's just chasing.
I mean, he's got women and stuff. HS TikTok. He's definitely like, he co-streams with women and he pulls women a lot. He's definitely like part of that. He's not married because he's too young. He's not like or has kids. He doesn't have kids or anything like that. But he's definitely like, following in that sort of the footsteps of that, right? It's kind of like the next evolution of the PUA. But there's like more. It's like, fitness and money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that's right. And the thing is, I mean, I don't want to play too much more of this clip, but I'll just explain that HS Tiki Taki, who this is his mother. His father is was a professional rugby player, and he was not around to raise him. Now, we don't like Theroux doesn't go into whether or not like he abandoned this child or if his mother kept him from him or what. We don't know. But we do know is that at some point, his mother decided to have sex with this guy who was a professional athlete, and they had this kid, and then the kid wasn't there to raise, like the father wasn't around to raise him. And HS has very conflicted feelings about that. That's what we do know, right? So I think it's worth pointing out because we don't want to talk about the fact that if there is an issue with deadbeat dads, like this is how we frame it. The problem with that logic is that women choose to sleep with these men. And yes, there are cases where maybe the man promises one thing and doesn't deliver. But I think that it's worth mentioning that there's also the possibility that women are just not thinking about the future and they're just in the moment wanting to get dick, and they're okay with, or they even try to entrap him by getting pregnant on purpose. There could be a number of things that could happen, you know, but they don't want to talk about that. If the father's not there, if they even want to talk about it at all, it's usually framed as blaming the father for not being there.
Yeah, well, honestly, let's be clear. The primary mediator between the bond between a father and his children is the mother in our society. Legally, she has more control over that than he does. So most often when a father isn't in a kid's life, it's because of a mother's choice. That's just the way it is. And the same people who will continue to push the legal situation where women can unilaterally remove fathers from their children's lives will condemn me for pointing out that they have constructed the very unilateral situation, legal situation that they said they would. And you did this. You're proud of doing it. And you have a problem with me pointing out that this is what the situation is. Women control men's access to their children. Full stop. So when a man doesn't have access to his children, the most likely cause is the mother is not letting him. That's the truth. All right, let's continue.
All right.
It was clear from photos shared online how devoted Elaine had always been. How HS had felt at the time was hard to know. His dad, an England international rugby player, was not in the picture.
So his dad wasn't in the picture, all right? I'm going to...
An international rugby player. Okay.
Yeah, very big rugby player. And that's him saying he doesn't have any hard feelings towards his dad. And
if there's any trauma there, I will say
it's subconscious. What?
Well, I mean, yeah, there is a bit. A lot of these guys don't act like they've had a father.
Yes.
I'll be honest. Their goals in life are shallow. They are.
Well, they're reacting to women's desires. They're like, I want to give women what they want, and if women are shallow, then those men are just going to be shallow too. They're going to play the game.
They have sort of a fantasy of plenty, like lots of women. Probably because they're trying to fill in an emotional deficit from their childhood. I mean, all this is true. Maybe we should stop allowing mothers to control the relationship between a child and his father. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe we should stop encouraging single motherhood or allowing single motherhood. Right? Maybe that's what we need to do. But Theroux is not going to make these conclusions. He's just going to mention this and use it to poison the well in terms of this Tiki-Taki's opinion, which is really funny because of what comes next. Are we going to go next to the
mother part? No, I want to show something else.
This part. All right. Okay.
I want to show this. So this is Justin Waller, the guy from Louisiana, the ginger guy. And he has a harrowing story about his mom that again, Theroux he just glosses over. So
there was violence with the mom.
Justin was another. His accounts of being raised by a mother who he characterized as chaotic were a well-established part of his origin story.
What kind of house did you grow up in?
It was like this.
What was it?
I used to play in this neighborhood.
So they lived in a trailer park I'm not gonna like again. I'm worried about Netflix, but he grew up in a trailer park, and his mom, his mom separated him from his dad. So I think he has siblings, maybe. And she was really she would beat his father and drove him out of the house, basically. So she was violent, and the dad couldn't stay.
Yeah.
I've read online and I've seen you talk about how you had not the best upbringing in some respects, right?
Yes, sir. We were very close to being put in a foster home. I mean, there was a lot of violence. My mom,
And she would just come in sometimes and just start punching him. It was true rage.
we're actually not far from where she burned those houses down.
So I'm gonna stop it there. So she burned their homes down to collect insurance money. This is like the piece of work that Justin's mother was. Theroux doesn't really talk about that. Like this gets played and that's it. He basically dismisses it as, oh, these guys have troubled childhoods. That's why they're assholes. But nothing about like, maybe we should do something about that, right?
Yeah, or well, actually, what he does is he says that none of this is substantiated.
Yeah, he also says, well, I looked into it and I didn't see any charges filed against the mother, so probably didn't happen, I guess, right? Come to your own conclusions, but I didn't see anything in the official record, so.
Why would he invent a story about his mother beating his father? Right? Like,
Yeah,
why would
he
he
do that?
invent that? Yeah, that's not something that's going to help him in his sales, Theroux. Okay.
Yeah. So so yeah, that's Justin. So now I'm gonna jump ahead to like basically he tries to link this to a couple of other things, but here's some more stuff from I want to show something else here that I thought was pretty good. Yeah, this is just some news segments. So I think this is it here.
As the basis of far-reaching social renewal.
Did an election that was supposed to revolve around women's issues actually come down to the plight of men?
This was the testosterone podcast election.
So that's Scott Galloway, piece of shit, by the way. And they're basically, again, I think this is the reason why this documentary exists. It was the 2024 election. That's why they made it. And they're saying that in here. They're basically like, this was supposed to go to women all the time for all of eternity. Every election, every policy, every piece of legislation, everything that happens on the political level, on the corporate level, in education, socially, culturally, was supposed to be oriented towards women. And all of a sudden, men changed it. That's what they're saying, okay? So yeah, Scott Galloway's calling it the testosterone podcast like election. By the way, he's supposed to be an advocate for men. This guy, he's supposed to. He's the acceptable, MRA. I guess he's the good one. That's why he gets to be on CNN because he's not like the bad guy, right? So this is why this movie exists because they're trying to figure out how they lost. That's just, I don't know how else to put it. And like, why did men go against the interests of women? Why did men attack women with their votes, which is what they're mad about? So I wanted to show that because that's important context for, at least in my opinion, why this documentary exists. It's like almost driving home the point, at least the point that Theroux wants to make.
As manosphere talking points began to converge with the mainstream of political conversation.
So I'm pausing it there. Yeah, so you see manosphere talking points, which are essentially like I would say that they're somewhat, not really, but they're somewhat critical of feminism, right? I don't think they're not super strong, but they're definitely not mainstream. What were you gonna say?
I know it's not enough. Like
No, obviously not.
Honestly, the window is closing on being able to save the West from itself, really.
Yeah.
But maybe something will happen. Maybe just a gigantic freaking humiliation is what will jar people out of their complacency around what we are doing and what we are constructing and what we have constructed. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm just gonna like tell you guys like more of what happened. So then he basically ties it to the 2024 election, which then ties it to politics. So then he goes to Sneeko, who is a cultural commentator. I'm not really sure. I don't really watch him. I know who he is. He's like part of that Andrew Tate. He's like friends with those people. And but Sneeko's content is more political, I think. And so he's just trying to tie it all together. And at one point, he and Sneeko go out and they run into some kids. You know what? I'm trying to find the. There was a really great clip, and maybe I shouldn't look for it. But there was a really great clip of him talking to some fans of Justin's. Let's see if I can find it. I could just tell you about it, but there were those two young
we
guys.
already went through it last time. We already went to
No, where they said my brother committed suicide.
Yes, we did.
No, I don't think we talked about the suicide. No, because he meets them for tea and then they introduce themselves and we covered that. But then later he talks to them again.
Okay.
And they explain that I just don't know where that is. It might be before this, but it's okay. So anyway, he talks to these two guys that I mentioned on the last show. I believe their names are Maddie and Chris. And Maddie and Chris. And they talk about how the reason why they're big fans of like the Manosphere people is because it like gives them a sense of like not feeling like victims, right? So that they can like go out and get what they want. And I think this is extra interesting because again, these young guys didn't have fathers either. What?
Is it victims or feeling like they're not?
That's how they would frame it.
Because there's a different kind of quality there.
Yeah,
I know they were framing it, but it seemed more like they were talking about whether or not they were capable of changing their circumstance, whether or not they were even worthy to change their circumstance, or if it was deserved. See what I'm saying? Like a victim requires someone to conceptualize that something that's happened to them is not something that they deserve. But I think a lot of guys might even be in a situation where they think they deserve it, considering the rhetoric and all of that. And when you find out, well, no, you've been dealt a bad hand, but it's still sort of up to you to do something with it. At least that's a better message than you deserve because you've oppressed women. You specifically, man, who was born in 1998, you have been oppressing women since the dawn of time, since you evolved an opposable thumb to beat a woman with, to opposable thumb to get a rod to beat a woman with. You have been oppressing women, and you deserve everything you get. To have somebody say, no, you don't. The situation is unjust, but you still have to do what you can with the cards that you're dealt. That's more positive than being told you deserve it, which is what young men are being told now, that you deserve it. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
let's watch this.
I'm going to go to, do you want to see the Sneeko part?
No, the Sneeko part, like, why is Sneeko even in this?
He's trying to connect him to the Manosphere. Well, I mean, Sneeko, like he's in the same circles, but he's trying to link him to the Manosphere because, well, remember, Allison, later on, they basically just like try to accuse these people of being conspiracy theorists, right? So, so Sneeko was shown, they were like hanging out at like a bodega or something, and there were these magazines, and Sneeko like had recently converted to Islam at this point. But before that, he was pointing to the photos, and he was like, you see how they cover one eye in the magazines? That means that they're like signaling that they're in a cult, that they're a satanic, and he was like, oh, that's ridiculous. And Sneeko's like making the case for it or whatever. And
No,
so
I
he's
don't
trying to
wanna.
like say, oh, look at these guys are kind of kooky. They believe that satanic, a satanic cult runs the world. And
You mean
then
patriarchy, Theroux?
yeah. No, patriarchy running the world, that's real, Allison. Capitalism and white supremacy and patriarchy, that's all real stuff. But Satan, that's kind of silly, right? That's what he would say. Oh, that's kooky, right? And of course, this also like brings them to them talking about the Jays and how the Jays run everything. And so he's trying to like make this link, and Sneako's more, he's like willing to talk about those things. So I think that it's about guilt by association, taking whatever it is they believe and throwing that all in the cement mixer and seeing what comes out.
But I
And
don't want to watch. I don't think it's relevant. Like,
no, I don't think
I
so either. But I'm
understand.
just pointing out why he's in
Maybe
there.
Satanists do run the world. I think feminists do more clearly, and the financialization robber barons that feminists cape for, I think they run the world. I'm not sure about Satanists. I'm not sure we really need to entertain the Satanist question. I would like to get back to. I mean, I think that I think we could look at the
You want
redhead.
to just go to the bit where he confronts the
No,
mom?
let's look at the redhead guy. Like Justin, was it Justin?
Justin
Andrew?
Waller? I don't think there's anything
Waller.
else to see about that. Do you want to go
Aside
to where
from, yeah, go to where Theroux starts stalking his damn wife. Let's look at
Okay.
that sleazy. I
right,
don't think Sneeko is relevant at all.
like right here.
Yeah.
Let's see, 10536. Okay.
Why did you not get married in the eyes of the state? You think the financial side?
Yeah.
That seems more risky for you, maybe.
It does seem more risky for me, but I don't feel like I'm at risk.
So he's like, so they didn't get married by the government. They got married, I guess, like in the church, right? And Thoreau's like, why did you get married in the government? That's bad for you, isn't it? To the wife. And she's like, yeah, I guess it's risky for me.
No, it's not risky, because they're going to be, she has his kids, right? There's no risk here to her, really, legally.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that why wouldn't he, in saying, oh, that's risky to you, why wouldn't, of course, Theroux won't recognize that men getting married are putting themselves at risk. It's freaking ridiculous. Right? I don't even know why, honestly, she's obviously not men's issues aware, perhaps.
No, of course not.
Because this framing is really, it's giving him a lot of handholds.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, but I think that what she sees is an opportunity to say, it puts me more at risk, but I trust my husband. So it's sort of like he's trying to say, shouldn't you be afraid that he's going to take advantage of you? And she's going to say, no, I don't have any fear that that's going to happen. Right. So, yeah, it's not true that she's actually at risk. But for her, as someone who doesn't know that, it's an opportunity for her to essentially say, I stand by my man anyway. So that's what she's doing.
Lewis, let's say it ended right now. Let's say it ended tomorrow, me and you.
Oh.
I would still look at it as successful. It's some of the best years of my life. I have beautiful children, beautiful memories. I'll see comments sometimes a bit like, yeah, he thinks money is everything, but he'll never understand what it's like to have true happiness in a family and have a woman truly love him.
All right, he just goes on and on. It's all very performative, but yeah, he invites him into his house, and he's like immediately like, Theroux tries to like
his
sort
relationship.
Yeah, he starts to like pick at the relationship. I think he's trying to test her loyalty, I guess. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, well, he's trying to hone in, and he's trying to start making himself be the man that cares about her well-being. He is the custodial. He is claiming that woman custodially, essentially. Like vasopressin, which is like the male bonding hormone. It's a custodial hormone, right? So it's like, I take care of you. I know what's morally right for you, that kind of thing. And that's what Theroux is doing with all of these women that are associated with these men. You can see it. Immediately he starts orientating towards them. He just sort of shuffles over to them. He's like, "Are you happy? I don't think you are. Not
Yeah.
according to my framework. Are you sure? Are you comfortable? Do you feel safe?" And he's honing in. He is trying to be their custodian. And it's sort of a little sleazy and creepy. But for whatever reason, these guys aren't like putting their foot down and just throwing him out on his ear, probably because it is performative. But yeah, he's unsavory, this Theroux. His behavior here is unsavory. Like, you know,
Earlier in the movie, Justin Waller, this guy, and Theroux are talking in like earlier in the movie, and Justin is explaining that he thinks that people don't value like masculine men, and then he basically makes an example. I didn't play that clip because I forgot about it at the time, but it's a decent clip because he says they're like standing on a penthouse, right, and they're looking at like the cityscape of Miami. And he's like, look around you. Everything here was built by men, right? Like men built all of this. And Theroux's like, are you sure women didn't build some of it? He's like, absolutely sure. But you see, it's not. It doesn't matter that there might be some truth, like a woman put a brick on one of the walls. That's irrelevant. Like he's trying to like diminish the impact of men just doing what men do, building things, building society. And by saying, well, I mean, women are also, they can build buildings, they can like engineer, bridges and all that. Cut to bridges collapsing and buildings falling down. No, but I mean, like the point is that Theroux can't just give that. He can't be like, yes, like men are an integral part of and a very crucial part of what makes society function.
Because he knows
he can't do it because it takes away from women.
Well,
I mean, I don't know how else he sees it.
He knows where his
bread
feed pellets come from. His feed pellets come from. He knows that it comes from the undermining of the average man, basically. That's where it comes from. That's where he's getting fed from above, from the vested interests that want to undermine the average man because it makes money. This is finances. This is money making. This guy's making money on the underside of disenfranchising men, like Justin, I think is his name, the redhead, and Theroux's making money the other way from the disenfranchising. So you have Theroux, and he is advancing a attitude in our world that directly leads to the justification of extraction, like financial extraction on a wide scale, like a widespread scale. That's what he represents. He represents those interests, and he's maintaining those interests, and those interests have a very strong interest in undermining the average man. And I can go through all of the fault lines with that, but it's very, very difficult to do in this context. But just trust me on this. He represents financial interests, and those financial interests have a deep interest in undermining the worth of the average man for many reasons. Partly because it disguises what they're up to. Okay, they don't want men calling them out. They won't want men having the bandwidth to call them out or the institutional leverage to call them out. They want to continue to steal. They want to continue to walk out with the money bags out through an open door in the bank. But anyway, that's what he represents. He represents institutional graft and all of the politics of institutional graft. Now, the undermining of men leads to a situation where the dating pool is distorted and only the top 10% of men, or however many, can actually rise above and gain the social clout necessary to attract a woman, because feminists have destroyed the social clout of the average man. So the redheaded dude is making money off of the destruction that Theroux's group is engendering. So it's like it's interesting to watch these two characters sort of butting heads when they both sort of rely on each other to exist. It's fascinating. And yeah, but here we go. Are we at the point where Yep.
So
okay.
this is basically the end. I think this is basically the last part of the movie that we're going to cover, which is the final, like, the third meeting with HS Tiki Taki. Because like I said, Tiki Taki's like the main character in a way. He's like the main case study. And I think it's because he's like the young guy that's coming up, right? Justin Waller's got all of his shit together. He doesn't care what he thinks. He's got a woman. He's got kids. Fresh and Fit is doing well. Like they don't need, this anymore either. So, and he couldn't get people like Andrew Tate or Andrew Wilson on at all. So he's at HS Tiki Taki's house, and his mother, HS's mother, is there. So this is the woman, this is the mother of HS Tiki Taki, the same woman that was with a professional rugby player and had Tiki Taki himself, okay, or Harrison. I'm just going to call him Harrison. That's his name. And Theroux is talking to the mom, okay.
If anyone went through and said that they agreed with absolutely everything their child did and said, then they'd be telling an untruth. So, of course, there's things that I don't agree with. And he knows that.
You've talked about wanting traditional gender roles and actually thinking that, in general, men should order women around, right?
So Theroux is telling this to Tiki Taki.
His mother.
So what he's doing
Tiki-Taki's
is...
mother. Again, he's trying to hone in on Tiki Taki's relationship with a woman, specifically his mother, and he's trying to distort it. I guess not in the same kind of sexual register as the other chicks, but because Tiki Taki's mom is the same age as Theroux. Theroux probably doesn't like women her own age, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep.
All right.
Men should order women around. I think that's a bit of an extreme.
You have said that you thought that you'd be better to marry a virgin.
Okay, so we just skate over that. He just says, no, I think that's a bit of extreme. Yeah, I think that men should order women around. I'm going to go right out I'm going to say that. I think actually, honestly, and the reason why is because women don't understand the water level test. They don't understand, like a lot of women, I'm not saying all, but a lot of women don't seem to understand how systems work or consequences. And maybe it's a situation where women today eat hot chip and lie, watch TV, eat hot chip and lie, as opposed to raise chickens and canned goods and know how to run a farm. Maybe that's the problem. But right now, women struggle with what I term operational thinking, which is thinking about how inputs create outputs. Inputs go into the machine, and then the machine does stuff, and outputs come out. And women struggle with that. And I actually have now a whole bunch of research into the difference between men and women's cognitive modalities. Men tend towards an operative modality and women tend towards a social reading modality. So when a mistake happens, a man will say, "What did I do wrong?" A woman will say, "How did I read the situation wrong?" And never realize that maybe she made the mistake. So she'll go back to the situation, try to read where she got it wrong, and never realize that maybe she was the one who did something wrong. It wasn't that she wasn't reading signals correctly. She made the mistake. She put the wrong inputs into the machine and got the wrong outputs. And so women can circle around this idea that, oh, we must be reading something wrong, and never realize that they are taking the wrong action. Not reading things incorrectly, they are doing the wrong thing, right? It's like the nail. It's not about the nail.
Yeah.
For the woman, it's like the whole scenario. So the joke is that there's a woman with a nail in her head, right? And then the guy, her husband, is sitting there, and he's like, and you can see him. He's just like, "Let me take out the nail. Let me take."
Oh no, she's saying, "Oh my God, I have this pain. It's like a sharp pain in my head. And he's like, I
Mhm.
think it's because there's a nail in your head. And she's like, no, that's not it. And she wanted to talk about how the
Her
pain,
feeling.
how the nail
Yeah.
makes her feel, as opposed to solving the problem, which is what the man wants to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the man wants to take the nail out of her head because that's the problem. But the thing is that she sees it in terms of a relational question. So she thinks, well, or she wants him to demonstrate that she is important to him by recognizing how she feels. So she wants him to read her and recognize her and see her. And he's like, I think you'll feel a lot better if I take the nail out, right? That's exactly the difference between an operational thinker and a relational thinker, right? Just take the freaking nail out versus I want to be seen. I want my signal to be correctly delivered. And the example I'm thinking of is the current publishing industry. The women who are editing or acquisitions, they keep reading The Social Network over and over and over again. And the problem is that they are not editing the work that they acquire, and they're also not acquiring the work the market actually wants. So the error is with them, not their failure to read the market. Right? You get the difference? So they just keep circling this and saying, oh, well, we'll read it more carefully in finer resolution. And they never realize, no, they actually have to take a different action. There's no reading that can solve this. There's no reading that can solve the nail in your head. You have to take an action. And that's why I think men need to order women around. Because sometimes you just need to take out the fucking nail and not deal with the woman who wants an endless report on how much you care about her pain.
Right. Well, I mean,
Okay.
again, that only further like supports the fact that HS is being unfairly characterized because Thoreau wants to frame it. And the reason why he does this too is it's worth pointing out. Earlier in the movie, Thoreau's asking HS Tiki Taki Harrison, asking him about his mother and if she would approve of like sexism or whatever. And Harrison is like, no, my mom hates sexism. Like basically he believes his mother is like at least like a second wave feminist, right? So so Thoreau knows that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna mention what he does and see if his mom, like, grabs him by the ear and like grounds him for a week or something, So he's bringing it up to see what happens. He's stirring the pot. Okay, so let's see how she reacts to that.
Yeah, ideally. Why do I want a team that's been run through?
That type of thing, the way women are stereotyped if they have multiple partners to the way that men are, I find it extraordinary.
Yeah, see, so his mom is basically an absolute like feminist, which might be the reason why he's the way he is too. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, oh, shocker, feminist single mom raises, like Giga Chad hopeful, I guess, like aspiring Giga Chad guy. And this is the thing, like they're when we say feminism created this manosphere, this is it in a microcosm. This is it.
Although I will say that she does
She does
actually
defend him, yes, but I'm saying like because it's her son at the end of the day. So,
yeah, but
you
okay, so all right, yes, it is. Well, I mean, the problem with feminism is it disconnects men from their ethical system. And I know he who must not the commentator I've been getting into arguments with recently was like, well, what's a masculine ethical frame? What's a feminine ethical frame? I guess for a feminine ethical frame, it's a frame of care, of tending, of milk, making a sandwich and using your egg apron or whatever the frick else. For men, it's an ethical frame around the fact that men are bigger and stronger and have a much greater risk tolerance than women. Like, what do you think it is? Right? Women don't need necessarily, they really should have more of an understanding of their violence and their sexual abuse, but they don't have to have as much of an inherent control over their strength and their physical capacity as men because they don't have it. right? So there's a whole ethical schema that comes out of not just men being physically stronger and having a greater risk tolerance, but also how men bond, which is different than women. Like men's bonds are vasopressin mediated. There's some vasopressin in women, but it's basically like saying there's also testosterone in women. The volume is considerably lower. And the way that vasopressin bonds express themselves is different, which is going to result in a different set of ethics and expectations. Go argue with frickin' endocrinology, all right? Go argue with anatomy. Go argue with evolution. This is a reality. I'm not interested in entertaining this. Oh, everybody is the same. That's not the case. Men have a different cognitive architecture, which results in a different set of ethics and virtues. Women can understand them and even adopt them. That's possible, right? I'm not saying women can't, but they tend to originate with men. They tend to be driven by men. Men will force those ethical expectations on other men at the point of a gun, right? That they will do things like force other men to live up to these expectations. Women don't do that with other women, really. Well, I mean, I guess honor culture sort of, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, men are primarily responsible. By primarily, I mean almost exclusively responsible for the concept of ethical punishment. And we see that right in the studies that show that women's compassion is not mediated by the behavior of the target. So if you have this situation where you have two people, one is completely innocent, one has done something aggressive or criminal, and both are punished, a woman will feel compassion towards both situations. A man will only feel compassionate to the innocent party and will actually feel pleasure that the guilty party was punished. That is altruistic punishment. That's where it comes from. And then there's all kinds of other things. And that's probably vasopressin, right? That sense of disgust towards or satisfaction in punishing someone who has harmed an innocent member of your community, right? That probably comes from the endocrinology again. It's from first principles. So yes, men have their own ethical frame, and feminists try to make them not, try to delegitimate it, try to make men not morally autonomous from women, which doesn't create girls or women. It creates robber barons. All right, let's keep going.
All right. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit where Theroux, keeps sort of like doing this thing where he's trying to like get his mom. I guess he's trying to get him in trouble with his mom. He's trying to get Harrison in trouble with his mother.
I love the way the mom is looking at Theroux. Theroux should have realized that he was about to get it from that look.
Yeah.
They hear that content, they think it's acceptable.
That's the parents' fault. That's not my fault. I don't need to censor myself. I'll say what I want. I've had 13-year-olds come up to me and I'm like, mate, why are you watching my stuff? You're too young to watch my stuff.
13-year-olds, 14, 15 is probably like your main demographic.
No, it isn't.
All right, I'm just pausing there for...
You know who could really help those 13, 14, 50-year-olds? Their dad. Where is dad?
That would be interesting. That's would be interesting. I saw today, I was walking JoJo. And just so you know, like how like relatively wholesome where I am right now is. I was walking JoJo with Lindsay in the park, and it was nice out. And there was a grandfather showing his grandkids, a boy and a girl, how to play baseball. They were probably like 4 years old. And he had like one of those things on a stand with a ball on it. And he was having them take turns hitting the ball. And they were wearing helmets and it was cute. And I was like, oh, I wonder what dads are for. Like, I didn't say it in the moment, but it was like, it went through my head right away. Now, this is a grandfather. So it's like, they were having a ball. No pun intended. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. This is one of Harrison's boys. from the moment they get it, a lot of there's a recurring theme in this documentary of Theroux saying, "Oh, look at these Manosphere guys; they're all really worried, so they have cameras on me and stuff." Like
Maybe
what
they
are they
learned from
afraid
us.
of? But like they know what the media does. Like that's why they're
Yeah.
recording him. So this guy is live streaming this whole thing because for one, is to protect him, which we've always said here, always be recording. But the other thing is so that they can use it as content. So, and they did. And I can't blame them for that. So, but anyway, that's why that guy's there. Huh?
Might as well get something out of this guy, although it's probably why Theroux ended up leaving in the last, 10 minutes of his documentary, because it was already out there and likely got more attention from Tiki-Taki streaming it. So Tiki-Taki, by recording this, actually made sure that Theroux had to address it. And this is where everything pivots, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and listen.
All right.
This character over here is the one I'm worried about. So sinister.
Yeah. We've all got the cameras out, Shad.
As we spoke, I was increasingly aware of Sam's filming and that HS was probably streaming to a live audience.
Oh, look, you can see the comments now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're streaming, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's streaming this. And thank God he did, because this would have ended up on the cutting room floor.
And he's basically trying to
Guaranteed.
reframe it again. Oh, he's having the chat be provocative. Like the chat can do anything except comment.
What
You guys that are watching this, you're being provocative right now. I'm just letting you know. Should watch out with that, because it's very provocative over there in whatever part of the world you are watching this. You might do something provocative.
Yeah, well, look at what he's saying about Tiki-Taki. He says he's performing provocations for the chat, right? I don't see any provocations.
No.
The guy is answering your stupid questions, Theroux. I don't see any provocations. I haven't seen one yet. I've seen you provoking things in your sneaky kind of low-key way. God damn. I don't do journalists have rubber sheets? Otherwise they just sort of stick into them. Then the mucus just turns into this crusty glue and they can't get out. Seriously. This is my question for Theroux. Do you emit slime? Do you have anything that, do you have any do you have to hose yourself down after one of these documentaries? I wonder how far up what was that, Saville's ass?
Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile's
I
ass.
wonder during that
they
documentary.
lived together for a little while, but we could talk about that. That does come up here a couple times.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
For you, the only metric is really making money. It doesn't
Making money, being healthy, being happy. If I wasn't doing social media, I would be up the city playing that game. I'm playing the game of life, and I'm playing it very well.
Do you believe in doing the right thing for its own sake? Obviously, you've got a couple of criminal cases, right?
Oh, look, this is...
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Criminal cases, he's...
So basically, there is one that I know of, which is that he was driving without a license, got into a car accident. But that's it, as far as I know. And then I guess he went back and there was a warrant out for him. I guess they take, driving without a license really seriously in the UK. But I mean, if he was forming a rape gang or something, he'd probably be okay. But he was driving without a license. So, but no, I mean,
driving without a license.
Yeah, you have a license to drive that car. You have a license for that license. But yeah, so there was that. But he's okay. So Savile is not Savile. Yeah, Theroux. Theroux is, sorry, I don't mean to confuse those two guys. Theroux is bringing up his criminal cases, which upsets him, probably because of legal reasons too, because these are ongoing things, right? So, all right.
Yeah, but I just want to say something for driving without a license. I actually did that once in the US. It was before the time of all of this immigration stuff, and I got pulled over by a Texas Ranger. And he was like, "Do you have a license?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay." Does your dad have a license? And it's like, okay, you drive from now on. And that was it. But apparently, I guess he got into an accident, so it was more serious than that.
Yeah, he got into an accident.
Okay.
All right.
You don't have to say anything you don't want
Such a little twat, mate.
Done it just to get a reaction, so please don't. Or else it will end. If you don't agree with what Harrison's doing, then why are you making money off of it on a programme by publicising it? You're doing it because you think he's a controversial character, so you're making money off the back of it. And that's why, and that's all your programmes are.
That's like the best. This is the best thing I've heard as far as the reply from any of the people that he's spoken to. He probably didn't see that coming.
No.
But when you say you're making money off of people, you're exploiting people, which is what he's accusing Harrison of.
Yes,
he's making a good point by saying, "Well, what are you doing? Like you have like a Netflix deal."
Yeah. Exactly. Like, honestly, yes. Harrison is saying controversial things to get clicks, to build his empire. What the hell do you think you're doing, Theroux?
Rare mom W.
Yeah, like this. What the hell? Like this is the one moment that everything turned around for Theroux and went back on him. And I think actually the media has been responding to this moment, and that this may be what made them pivot from presenting these people as these manosphere guys as muckrakers using controversy to sell, which is exactly what Theroux is doing. He is a muckraker using controversy to sell, and they twisted it away from that towards, well, these guys really aren't that masculine. They're not really making that much money. Oh, the chicks aren't that hot. Like whatever else. They're trying to attack now the brand itself instead of the morality. And I think this was the moment it pivoted. And they realized. And the reason why this is still in this documentary is because Tiki Taki filmed it and streamed it. And if it wasn't, it would be utterly humiliating for Theroux. Like if he didn't have this in there, everybody would know why. Right? So he has to keep it in there because it's already out there. And that's exactly what these individuals, Theroux is used to a situation where he gets to control the horizontal and the vertical. And suddenly that's not the case. And he's saying, oh, they're so sinister. Really? Really? Theroux likes an asymmetrical power situation with his targets, which is honestly sort of creepy considering how much his targets, like he was like ignoring the men and honing in on the women.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's got that asymmetrical, or he thinks he has that asymmetrical power situation. He's the one with the Netflix contract. He's the one with the veto on the editing. And he's going after these women, trying to manipulate them or destroy their relationships or cause them to implode or get them to say something nasty about the men in their life. Unfortunately, I guess he found the final boss of women. Of like if this was like the this has been the progression of trying to confront the women in these men's lives, and he found the final boss. And failed. All right, let's continue.
Okay. Well, that's actually, I mean, I could play the rest of this, I think
because what's illustrative is how the tone of this changes. Let's go through that.
All right.
Even with your mate Jimmy Savile.
Even
with your good mate Jimmy Savile, mate.
Do you know, I get Jimmy Savile energy from some of the Manosphere figures. Jimmy Savile used
oh my God.
Seemed to have changed tactics to put me on the back foot.
Yeah, and you deserve to be there, Theroux. And it wasn't HMS. It was HMS's mother. You just got owned by this man's mother, Theroux.
Yep.
This is just a victory lap. The Savile conversation is just a victory lap. All right, so let's keep going.
All right.
And notice how he's just fading out of this conversation.
Yeah.
He's just fading out of this. Oh, let's not talk about Jimmy Savile. And he tried to, what about, right? He's like, well, the manosphere actually has
They give
Savile.
me Jimmy Savile vibes. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right, gang?
Oh man,
And this is another thing that they do, right? Like, what do they say about Dr. Warren Farrell? Dr. Warren Farrell, they accuse him of being a pedophile apologist and an incest supporter.
An incest supporter.
So, like, when, this is the thing too, is that, like, if you're one of these people that's like, I don't know, like you need to condemn these guys because XYZ. You realize the media is going to throw us all in one pot no matter what, right? Like, and a lot of the claims that they will make are completely pulled out of their ass. Like, there's nothing that says what they said about Warren Farrell is true. Nothing. But it sticks, though. It sticks, because I remember Big Joel, he made a video a few years ago, where he basically talked about Warren Farrell. He threw him in there and basically, like, threw those allegations in there. And then, of course, just didn't say anything. Was like, well, you know what? Conclude whatever you want. But it looks fishy to me. I don't know about you. Whatever. These people have said this. That's it. It has been said this about this guy.
When Warren Farrell was a feminist, he did some investigation into incest, researching incest, and that's where that allegation comes from.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's completely academic based what he was looking into.
Yeah. He completely distanced himself from it, however. And it was also when he was a feminist, and it was part of the, the general 70s craziness. So 60s, 70s craziness. But there is some like basis for those, not the allegations, but it's not like they're bringing the subject matter out from nowhere. But anyway, I just wanted to be clear about that. He did not apologize for incest. He's not an incest apologist. He studied it briefly and then distanced himself from that particular research subject. All right, so I'm probably making it sound worse than it is. Anyway, let's continue this.
All right.
Committing genocide. You're a puppet. You can't say what you want to say.
What do you want to think about? What
you're a puppet.
My opinion.
You're a puppet the same way you are.
So which way are we supposed to go with the genocide of the Palestinians thing? Like which
way are we supposed to? What do you mean? Like, what's the approved opinion?
Is that a left opinion or a right opinion? I don't know anymore.
I don't know that it's supposed to be a left or right opinion, but I think the reasons for the opinions are different. So yeah, the leftist opinion that Israel is committing genocide is based on the fact that Israel is seen as part of the larger West as a concept, and therefore the West itself must be opposed. And so, they don't, like, the people who protest that, they don't know what's actually going on. They just know, like, they have that same power dynamic framework where Palestinians are the minority oppressed. Israel is the dominant force. Therefore, it dominates them. That's it. But, like, also because Israel is part of the Western, it's considered part of the Western, let's say, I don't know, the Western entity. That's why it gets lumped in. So I'm saying the reasoning for it is nothing to do with like actually looking at human suffering. For example, if I were to, but on the right, the people who oppose it are saying that, they're basically killing, indiscriminately. They're taking out a lot of Christians. For some reason, Orthodox churches have been bombed by, Israel and such. So that's like the issue, but they wouldn't call it a genocide either. They would call it maybe an ethnic cleansing, which is not the same thing. And then
what?
I know. I'm just saying it's not simple. It's not simply broken down. There's a lot I've looked into it. There's a lot of moving parts. I think that if I was asked that question, is Israel committing a genocide? I would say no. It's more like an ethnic cleansing. That's how I would say it. So,
okay, I wouldn't say
that's what I would say. That doesn't mean anyone's dying either. It could just mean they're being, like, ushered out, and that doesn't mean I agree with it either, obviously. So
okay, I'm just saying I say enough controversial things. I will leave that one for the experts.
Well, okay. Well, but
Yeah.
the thing is, though, in this context, I think it's worth pointing out too. It's suggested, and I think this might be true, that Harrison is not asking that question because he genuinely cares about the answer. He's asking that question because he wants to put Theroux in a bind, right?
Yes.
Because it is a very difficult question, because no matter
Yes.
how you answer, you're going to upset people. And so
Yes.
he's like, well, what's the answer to this? But also, he was fed this question by the chat, because if you look in the live chat, he says it right before there's a chat that says, ask him about if Israel's committing a genocide in the chat.
Oh, that's where
Yeah.
Thoreau is getting the provocations.
Yeah, see,
Only
look,
Thoreau
Hus
gets
20, it's right there. Hus 20255. Ask him if Israel are committing genocide. So he's looking at the chat and he's getting he's getting orders from that. He's getting ideas
this is
about
why
what to
Thoreau
say.
said this is why Thoreau said the chat was getting him to provoke, getting him to ask questions. So Thoreau, questions are provocations. That's an interesting. Are they only provocations when they're being asked of you?
Yeah. Ask him his body count. That's what I would have said. Ask him his body count. What's your body count, Thoreau?
Okay, let's keep
That's
going,
funny.
'cause I want to go through this because
All right. So
the
anyway,
way
back
that
to this. So he says, you're a puppet because you won't answer the question. Okay.
Because I'm real. I'm raw. I'm not a puppet. I'm not controlled. No one's my daddy. Savil's your daddy. The Jew's your daddy. You know it. I don't give a fuck. This is why I say what I believe. And I don't need to edit anything. Ever. Ever. Nothing with me needs to be edited out. Put what you want about me on the net. I don't give a toss.
And this is why this remained in, right? Because he had the good sense to record it live, to record all of this. And if Thoreau dropped it, everybody would know why.
Yeah.
So this confrontation remained in, even though it absolutely and completely undermines the entire position of Thoreau and all of the people he represents, which includes the UK media in general. The UK media 100% uses controversy and lies to get attention. And it also uses what it won't ever term hate speech, but the kind of vicious propaganda that nations at war direct at each other, it directs at its scapegoat groups to get more attention, to get more clout. So in every way, what Thoreau is saying these men do, and he's saying, don't you want to be moral? He's saying that the manosphere is using, or these extremists on the fringe of the manosphere, which has somehow become the whole manosphere. He's saying, you use rage bait to get clout and money. And then his mom,
You're doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing exactly what you're accusing the manosphere of doing. The whole UK media, not just the UK media, the whole mainstream or establishment media in the West is doing exactly what the manosphere, what they call the extremist manosphere. They're doing exactly the same thing. And yet they only expect the manosphere to account for that lack of morals. Right? That is freaking hilarious. Thoreau coming into this, creeping on these men's women, accusing them of being immoral, isolating these men's women in a position where he controls the horizontal and the vertical. He controls what ends up in the actual product, which is an asymmetrical power relationship. And he's honing in on these women in that asymmetrical, with an asymmetrical power over them, and trying to provoke them into saying shit about their men, right? That's what Thoreau is doing in order to hoover it up as some kind of salacious content, or destroy their relationships, or take custodial ownership over these women. And then saying to these men, don't you think that what you're doing is immoral? While he's using the same controversy to drive his own clout and make money. The guy is an utter sleazebag. He's just freaking sleazy. But let's keep going because he's been called out. So what is he going to pivot to?
All right.
HS's declaration to his camera and his live audience was, I realized, his grand finale.
Yep.
Are you a fan of HS's content?
So like now we have the clips go out viral. Like they just basically upload a bunch of clips of him being confronted. Do we want me to play those or should I skip to the next thing?
Just keep going. Just keep going.
All right.
Within minutes, content from the stream had gone viral.
Yep. Theroux, your bullshit was called out.
Clippers into short snippets with clickbait headlines.
You're a puppet. You can't say what you want to say. You're a puppet.
Louis owned by the fucking Jews.
Okay, this is okay.
So it's
right.
funny because he's saying, oh my God, he recorded me and then he edited the footage and he made clickbait headlines to frame it a certain way. It feels like shit, doesn't it?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I can't believe they do that to us, the media. Why?
Oh my God.
It's so weird. Like he's a victim of his own tactics.
I'm going to cry a single tear for Theroux.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn. All right. Let's keep going.
All right.
Because he's got to turn this around, right? He's got to find some way to hit back. Is Theroux down, but out?
Up with the whole stream.
We're live, yeah? All right, good. All right, let's show him. 5 minutes till Theroux's here.
So, you hear that note of pain in his voice? He's like, I came here to expose the manosphere, and I got exposed. And I feel really bad. I feel like you should feel sympathy for me. Like that pain in his voice. Now he's playing the victim, huh? You chose the rules, Theroux. You chose the combat. You chose the field of combat, and you were bested.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep going.
It unfolded very differently.
Even with your good mate Jimmy Savile, mate.
And he couldn't re-edit it.
The anonymous commenters marionetting HS's performance as they fed him questions.
Oh, see. Now he's attacking this idea that, that exactly what he was accused of, being a marionette. I wouldn't say he's a marionette of any particular ethnic group. I think he's a marionette of those aforementioned financial interests that have an investment in underselling men generally, right? Theroux wants to undermine anything associated with manhood. But he's accusing HMS Tiki-Taki of the very thing that he was accused of. So you see, this is a no you, right? He's doing the no you. I'm rubber and you're glue, HMS Tiki-Taki. That's what he's doing. Okay.
Yep.
All right, come on. This is hilarious.
Are Israel committing genocide?
Of all the material, what I was most struck by were the moments with HS's mum before the interview.
It's just what I like.
That juice bar that you get the thingies from, they'll have
Oh, now he's trying to
Yeah, he's trying to make him look like a mama's boy because him and his mother are like, working together on some things.
or they're having an argument over a juice bar.
All right.
Don't embarrass me. All right, don't be rude. That's not the way I've brought you up.
Okay,
Do not
cool.
be rude.
All right, I won't
All right,
be.
because it's a reflection on me.
All right, I won't be.
And that has nothing to do with the juice bar.
God, look at
See, he thinks that because this guy was cleaning something, that somehow I don't know, makes him less of a man or something.
Yeah, but the thing is that he already streamed this, so he doesn't care.
Well, yeah, he's obviously the one that streamed this. So,
Yeah.
but so what does Theroux think he's proving? That's what I'm saying.
It sounds like they had an argument over a juice bar. And
Yeah, I
then
don't even
she's
know what
like,
that is.
I don't want you to be rude, which is freaking hilarious because she's like, she delivers the most savage blow, and she's like, "Don't be rude."
She wasn't
Lady,
rude
you just
though.
ended-
She wasn't rude when she said it though.
Lady, you ended Theroux's
It
career.
was like a sniper.
Yeah, she's like a sniper.
Yep.
Don't be rude.
That was a 420 no scope.
I can see why. I can see why.
It was easy
HMS
too. Easy, GG, easy.
I can sort of see why he brought her in. You know,
Yeah.
just to, just to do that, to snipe this. But yeah, like, does this matter? Yes, not really. Have you not seen like people have arguments with their parents about things? And it wasn't really that big of an argument. She's just telling him to be polite, right?
Yep.
It's almost,
exactly.
That's almost like,
Look at this. Get out of the way.
Hello, YouTube. What I'm going to do.
So these are just clips of like, I think that's the end of that. Do you want to, I mean, this is,
no, let's watch it, because what we're witnessing is how Theroux is trying to salvage his position.
all right.
You
All
get
right.
that
All right.
part? That's like the most interesting part. So now this is this like the young HMS
Justin Waller. This is young Justin Waller, I think.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
This is sort of creepy, but
Oh, it's Ed Matthews. He's the other the British guy.
Okay.
That was a different guy. Okay.
Put one marshmallow in your mouth and say chubby bun.
It's tempting to see the extreme male influences as adversaries spewing hate, and in some ways they are.
Okay, stop. Theroux, you just got called out. Big time. You're a muckraker, and you are using controversy and rage bait to gain clout and money. Exactly the same thing you accuse the extremist manosphere of doing. And this is your response, to show one of them as a kid eating marshmallows and saying, oh, well, it's hard to see them, you know, like just it's easy to just see them as spewing hate. Well, considering that they just called you out on what you're accusing them of, it's hard to continue to accuse them of that, isn't it? Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
When I was 11, I wanted to be a doctor because that's what my Filipino grandparents said I wanted to be. One of the very few stereotypes.
But they are also products of a culture growing up online in a world that's changing at dizzying speed. With
You just got your ass handed to you. You no longer control the narrative. And this is what you're saying. They're part of a culture where people like you no longer control the narrative. Right?
Well, he's gonna fall on like one of the oldest arguments that we get. Yes. So listen to this. I'm gonna go back just 10 seconds.
But they are also products of a culture growing up online in a world that's changing at dizzying speed, with narrowing opportunities where the old.
Why are those narrowing? Old entitlements of manhood have been challenged.
Yeah, it's the whole like men don't have all the power anymore, and that's like really, you know, frustrating and bad for men. It's why they're mad, because they've lost their privilege. You know, equality feels like oppression to people who have always had privilege. Blah blah blah.
This is the language. This is exactly the language. This is why I say the Theroux is a mouthpiece for those financial interests, for those robber barons who want to silence men, because men are the only ones who would hold them to account for their open theft. That's what this is. Oh, men establishing an ethical structure is entitlement, right? So men keeping the discipline of the free market, preventing big institutions from using the Fed to backstop their risks, to socialize their losses and capitalize their gains. That was the entitlement of the old male system. This is what this guy is doing. He is destroying the recognition of what men did in the past by calling it entitlement, when it was in fact a benefit to all of us that men did it. And this is why I say he's part of that. He's a puppet of that, not the Jews. You know, I'm not really sure it's necessary, but specifically the men who want, or men and women who are making bank off of removing any kind of ethical oversight. And that ethical oversight would have come from men. That's why they say this shit, because they don't want to have to deal with being called out as thieves and sneaky fuckers. All right.
Okay.
It is perhaps not surprising that some have sought the comfort of a simplified world of game hacks and conspiracy theories.
Patriarchy.
It struck me that the main...
Okay, all right. So patriarchy, right? That's a conspiracy theory. And again, he's doing the same thing. He's chasing clout and money. Theroux is using controversy to chase clout and money. Right? It's okay. So let's keep going.
All right.
Rail against more accurately describes the algorithmic prison they've created for their followers.
What the frick are you talking about? So now he's attacking the algorithm.
He's saying that these guys that use the internet, as I guess influencers, are in their own prison, Allison. They're also in a prison of the algorithm where they just have to make content for their followers and they can't escape it. They're in their own matrix. They're in a prison of their own making, Allison. Don't you see? This is drama. This is artistic.
So what he's doing
it's a deep point. It's so deep.
What he's doing is he's trying to reverse the rhetoric. These guys are saying that he's a puppet. He says, no, you're a puppet. These guys are saying you're trapped in the matrix.
No, you.
He says, no, you. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? He really got
says the establishment goon.
That woman really devastated his argument. He came in with a moral argument and he's come back out with his pants down his ankles, having been spanked, saying, no, you. Like, this is devastating. I've never seen such a turnaround in terms of the media having its ass handed to it. And it's by an old boomer woman. Good Lord. That's like, I did not have that on my checklist for 26. Like, really. But everything after this is a no you. Is the old chestnut of, they're just losing their privilege.
Yeah, they're not able to change anything. They're just living in a world that's left them behind, those old-fashioned men.
But so the men who are using the algorithm and streaming against your control of the narrative, Theroux, have lost their privilege. Actually, I think that more resembles what has happened to Theroux. If you think about it, he used to have the privilege of controlling the narrative, and now he doesn't. So that's not just, that is another no you, right? Except it's almost reversed. He's saying, well, you use these new tricks against me, and I no longer have my privilege. Well, it's actually you who's upset at losing his privilege. That's another no you. All right, let's hear some more.
All right.
Wealth and power.
An illusion of endless wealth and power. Okay. That only
enriches a few at the top.
100% right, Theroux. But that applies to you even more. Because your handlers have constructed this situation. Your handlers have financialized the productive layer that men used to build and have jobs in and create lives in, and you have destroyed it, right? You've outsourced it, or you have minimized it, or you have basically modified it to death. Those are your handlers on the top in the fatberg, preventing any upward mobility for most men. And these guys have figured out a little, a way to get into the pie or the slice of the pie by actually providing content that those men want and can live vicariously through. And don't tell them that they're worthless. But your side is the side that's telling men that they're worthless, that they should shut up, that their ethics aren't wanted. Like they have no right to have oversight over anything because they're men, right? The free market system is toxic masculinity. We got to replace old, pale, and male with DEI, and a planned market, right? And that capitalizes the gains of the big players, socializes their losses. All of that is on your frame, Theroux. That's you. You created the destruction. You are part, the mouthpiece for the people who created the economic devastation. We aren't seeing it yet, but it's there. The hollowing out of the productive layer in favor of the monetization of the productive layer, destroying it, bringing money upward, creating the fatberg that's not just bureaucracy, but it is corporate government collusion that has disenfranchised all the men who don't have a nepotistic relationship to the levers of power, right? You are responsible for that shit. These guys are a symptom of it. Okay, so this is another no you right here. Theroux is a mouthpiece for the disenfranchisement of the average man financially. And he's saying that these dudes somehow did it. Another no you. Okay.
All right.
The top.
I'm the future Prime Minister of the United States. I have launched a political party called ROW.
So this is sort of like what Sargon did.
A world where the fringe is no longer fringe.
We kept the female president from taking power. Let's go.
Where we are all increasingly inside the manosphere.
I'll take it, mate.
And it's up to us how we get out.
You don't.
Have a good time, mate. Yeah. See you later, mate.
I wish. That'd be great. We're all increasingly inside the manosphere. We have to get out. Like, you see, that's just fear.
That's another no you. That's another no you.
Yeah.
We're actually inside the femosphere, the fempire.
Yep.
Right? The feminist empire, the feminist and financialization empire, and trying to get out. And these guys aren't going to get out, and they're not going to get anybody out. Right? If there is a way out, it's going to come from men who still have a connection to their own ethical frame. That's where it's going to come from. And probably from women who let them have that and support them in it. It's not going to come from guys who are found an exploit. This is an exploit. Like these men only exist because the average man is disenfranchised. They only exist because in the process of disenfranchising the average man, treating him as a poor investment in terms of relationships, removing his social clout. The average man used to have some social clout, gone. And now, in terms of relationships, now that's gone. And not just because they paid for stuff, not because they were good providers, but because they were men. Being in a relationship with a man was seen as an achievement for women. It's seen as something valuable. And now we've replaced that with this idea that women derive value from rejecting men on every level. Socially, legally, ideologically. Women think that that's where they get their value from, is rejecting men, which has constructed a dating landscape in which only the very tippy top of the male pyramid has the ability to overcome the clout deficit generated by feminists. And that's what these men are exploiting. They found an exploit. They found a loophole. They've discovered that if they have multiple women after them by whatever accident of birth, they're tall, they're good looking, they build muscle well in the right places, that they can lever that into a fortune because it's now so rare for a man to be attractive to women. And other men will look at that and give him money just to live vicariously through his lifestyle. Not because they're going to get anything out of it, because you won't, unless these guys can sell you how to become tall and attractive and put on muscle in the right places. Like the only way that the average man is going to be re-enfranchised as a dating prospect is if we destroy what is destroying their social clout. Right? And good luck. Well, I'm trying. Brian is trying. We are trying. We're trying to do that here. Okay. And that's why we are not, the algorithm really doesn't like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
I want to show you guys what I think is important from this. The reaction to this.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
we had some people in the manosphere that reacted to it and they didn't like it. They had their criticisms. And I think that they're obvious. You know, we've covered that and more on this channel. But then there's the feminist reaction and the normie reaction, right? Which is still the
but we're
feminist
almost
reaction.
okay. Do you want to do a 3-parter to do the feminist reaction to this?
Well, I can just throw some. Let me just throw some names. Let me throw some titles of videos. We can
Okay.
cover one at some point, but let's just
Sure.
look at one. Okay. Hysteria. Hysteria is these are YouTube channels. I'm going to give you the name of the channel and then the title of the video, okay, and the number of views. Hysteria reacts to new Manosphere Netflix doc with disgusting misogyny. 24,000 views. Psychology of the Manosphere. Therapist breaks down Louie Theroux's documentary, My Little Thought Tree. 25,000 views. What Louie Theroux couldn't show in the Manosphere documentary. Gregor Thompson, 1,000 views. Bryony Claire, I Love My Husband Who Hates Me, which features screenshots from Into the Manosphere. 151,000 views. Katie Keene Montgomery, Anthropological Take on the Manosphere, 2,000 views. Let's see. The Problem with Men Today. Louie Theroux Inside the Manosphere documentary review by Everyday Starlet, 332 views. And then there was one more I'll give you that I saw. This was by a woman named Therese. It got 77,000 views. It's called Louie Theroux Exposed the Manosphere's Favorite Abuse Tactic, which she describes as Darvo. So, I mean, we know what Darvo is. She says the Manosphere engages in Darvo. So, and she gives examples.
I wonder if any of them address what ended up being the most based person in this documentary.
Oh, actually, they think that she is. Well, actually, in the Darvo video, which I thought had the best clips, it's about half an hour, but I found some choice moments. We could do a third part and talk about it, but she does go after the mom too.
Oh,
Basically
that would
says
be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm always up for some female intersexual competition.
yeah,
And analyzing it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think fine. That sounds like a great a smorgasbord of absolute bullshittery. I have you mentioned since we're sort of at the hour. Once again, I want to tell you, feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message. Feedthebadger.com/support if you want to support the show, and BadgerNation.online if you want to join us in our community. We probably should mention Chuck Norris, right?
I was gonna mention him on the news show, but yeah,
yeah,
R.I.P. the GOAT, Chuck Norris. Probably he only went to heaven because God was looking for a bodyguard. So he said, "Okay, I'll take some time out of my day, and do that." So that's my theory. I'm pretty sure.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory. It's a suitable one.
Yep.
All right. So that's unless you have anything further to add. Let's
No, I think we got it. I think we got it.
I think we did.
We're definitely gonna get Netflixed for this, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. But at least if you're on the horizontal, the vertical stream should probably stay up, because I guess we didn't.
I hope so.
Because it's just too small or something. I don't know. It's because our mug takes up more of the actual real estate. Who knows? All right. So once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a message, and feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. Okay, back to you, Brian.
Okay, well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today. Please consider subscribing over at Rumble, because one day this channel might just be nuked and share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Maintaining Frame Show. And we will talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.